20 different states. Wonder what they're after. And by the way, on this website I just gave you, you can hear Andrew Napolitano interviewing Lou Rockwell and asking him about it. I challenge you to go. It ain't but 4 minutes and 16 seconds long. I challenged you before Napolitano left Fox News. He did this interview with Lou Rockwell, and, you know, very interesting, very interesting. Not that I'm afraid of him, but it's very interesting, and I wish you would go look at it, okay? And make your own decisions and draw your own conclusions about what's going on with the drones. Now, guess what we've got next on today's item? This may not matter to some, but we're going to do some little bit of a mathematical equation and formula today. I wish to tell you that when people go dove hunting, according to how fast the dove was flying, and pheasant hunting for that matter, according to how fast the dove is flying, you've got to calculate and lead that dove bird in order to get enough dove birds to have a meal at home to bring home to the family and cook. Am I making sense here? If I am, somebody tell me in the chat room. Do you understand what I'm saying? In other words, what I'm getting at is I want to give you a little introduction because it's very interesting to me. I've been learning it for years and years and years about being able to, and the reason I say this, and you all can, you know, figure out that pretty soon the stores may close and you may have to hunt your food, regardless whether you're male or female. If you live in a place that is outside the center of commerce in the city, then you're going to have the ability to be able to shoot your birds and eat them, if you get what I'm saying. So let me give you a little introduction here in the ability to be able to shoot your moving fowl, whether it be a pheasant or a dove or whatever. Now, let's get into that for a few minutes. I've got about 13 minutes left. I won't cover it all, but I'm going to give you an introduction on how to hit your moving stuff and how to calculate it. Okie dokie? Is that okay? Let's go down the road for a minute on that. Because, see, I can remember when I first started hunting in Georgia and hunting in different places across the country, I would become frustrated because I would, at the first thing when I was young, I would be set over there at the cornfield or the peanut field, and I would shoot at the dove that was flying dead at it and didn't lead it, and I couldn't hit the dang thing to save my life. But I'm going to give you an easy method to be able to calculate how you can hit your moving dove bird. Take for instance, you want to hit a running deer or elk, and that deer or elk may be at 100 yards or 1,000 yards. Not only dove birds, let's go to elk for a little bit, okay? Pre-adventure, how can you do that? How can you have the ability to hit a moving target, whether it be an elk or a deer or whatever it may be? Well, let's talk about it for a minute, if you don't mind, today on the Endtime Watchman News Network. See, all you simply have to do is get a time flight chart from a ballistics program for your particular load. Well, what do you mean by that, Billy? Well, for instance, let me give you a prime example, okay? A prime example of how to hit a running, moving target. Doesn't matter if it's walking 3 miles an hour or running up to 30, okay? It doesn't matter. It does not matter. For instance, let's just say that you are shooting a 308 or a 300 Win Mag or a 308. say you're shooting a 168 grain boat tail hollow point match. I know some of you may be bored with this, but listen to me. What you need to know is muzzle velocity. You need to know the speed that that bullet leaves the end of the barrel. And say it's 2600. Then, all you got to do is remember this. That if the animal is walking, which is approximately 3 miles per hour for whoever it is, all you got to do is count in sevens. If your velocity is 26, and this is an example. You need to know your velocity, and then you'll be able to know the movement. You calculate them two together, and you got the lead. It's simple. But the easiest way to remember it, if you, for example, 2,600 feet per second, you do it in sevens. All you got to do is do it in sevens. 100 yards, you ain't got to count nothing. Begin around 300 yards and you'll what? 7 inches. 400 yards, 14. You get it? Some people are going to need this information. And again, I say, you can do it. Listen to me. You can do this. This is so simple to do and look up. You can do distance per second, or you can do distance per inches. You can lead in feeters or lead in meters. But this is simple to do, and some people that's going to have to hunt for their food, whether they're leading an antelope or a deer and elk that's running or maybe scared by a bear, you calculate your muzzle velocity. You need to know that. And it say 2,600. You got 7 inches at 300 yards is what you got to lead. Now, that is with full value. Let me give you the definition of full value. Full value means that if you are looking through your scope at a particular target, and that target is going directly left of you or right of you, that means full value target. Okay? You understand what I'm saying here? Listen to me. It means it's moving right or left. Then all you've got to do is calculate how fast the target is moving and how far away it is. Multiply by 7 if you're at 2,600 feet per second. And all you got to do is look it up. You're 2,800, 2,500. I'm telling you, say 2,800, okay? 2,879 feet per second. Well, guess what? Guess what you're looking at? Depending on bullet coefficient and everything else, you're probably looking at 4.5, 5 inches. I'm giving an example here. And then you double that. But know this. Pre-adventure, you're at 100 yards or 50 yards or 30 or 20 yards. There is 0 leading time. All you have to do is hold it on the object and squeeze the trigger. Okay? You see, these things are important to know. And by the way, it's public information. I'm not giving you anything here that's illegal. I'm simply trying to help you down the road if it gets to where you got to kill your food to be able to survive. You understand what I'm saying? Now, to me, it would be wise to look up and to check out and see just how fast whatever it is that you're going to put on your dinner table, how fast it can move, which is very easily done. All you have to do is do a little research, and you can find out how fast, whether it's an elk or a deer or a dove flying in the air. And now remember this. On a shotgun, leading a dove, you calculate how far away he is from you and how fast he's traveling, and pre-adventure, you're leading about 2.5, 3 feet. You're going to kill the dove. According based on improved cylinder, modified, or full choke. According to your load. This is easy things to look up, but you're going to need it for survival. Now, back to the long range for a minute. See, some animals are spooky, and they spook easily. And it's a whole lot easier to bag or to be able to execute what you want to take home with you from a longer distance. Therefore, guess what? The animal does not spot you. And so therefore you have a perimeter that is safe to you, and the perimeter where the object thinks it's safe has a tendency to be moving slower, and therefore your calculations are easier to bring about, and you just hold over this many inches while it's walking. Remember, 2,600 feet is about 7 inches beginning at what, 300 yards? And you multiply that on up. That is if you have a full value target. Let me get back to that. I'm about to run out of time here. Remember full value target, because that is moving directly to your left or directly to your right. Now, let me talk to you about a half value target. Half value means that it is moving left or right, but at an angle. In other words, if you're down at the bottom of a mountain and the target's up there, say, 300 yards away, if it's half value, then you've got to calculate for half value, because it's coming down towards you as it's moving to your left. And you simply calculate just how much closer it's coming to you, and you half what you would need to do if it was moving full value to the left. Simple math. Simple math. For you guys and gals that may be interested. I don't want to bore you today, but this is something I wanted to give you a preliminary class on, because it just might be needed. Because the grocery stores may not have what you need in there, and the birds might be flying around you where you can take them out and put them on the dinner table. Or it could be that elk that you need to feed your family with. Or it could be that deer. In any event, I sincerely hope that you enjoyed this newscast today, and I sincerely hope that you understood what I meant from the beginning of it up until the end. I'm playing the outgoing audio clip. EndtimeWatchman.com, 7 o'clock tonight, Mountain Time, preaching the fire-filled Word of God. Thank you for coming by here today, and you have a blessed, pleasant afternoon. Good evening. I'm signing off. Enjoy the outgoing words of a fundamentalist, gun-toting, Second Amendment, Jesus-loving man. And God has presented His salvation by way of His Son, Jesus. And it ain't my fault that they rejected Him. It ain't my fault they choose the world. It ain't my fault they choose wickedness. It ain't my fault they worship Satan. It ain't my fault they worship mankind. It ain't my fault they worship their graven images. It ain't my fault they worship their TVs. It ain't my fault they worship their computers. It ain't my fault they worship their pornography. It ain't my fault they worship their liquor and beer. It ain't my fault they worship their prostitutes. It ain't my fault they worship their wicked government. It ain't my fault they think that somehow or another when they put another president in, it's going to save the nation. It ain't my fault that they listen to the Fox News, CNN, NBC, ABC, and all the rest of the stupid idiots. It ain't my fault, because God has given a chance to every man and every woman and every child of age of accountability to come to Him, all ye that are heavy laden, and I will give you rest. He said, I've given you. I've made it simple and plain for you to take upon my salvation. So it ain't my fault. Adios. Have a great day.